And it's good morning to the Gelding on a Labor Day holiday in Melbourne, Gelding, but no metropolitan meeting. What's going on there?
Good morning, professors. Good morning, listeners. No metropolitan meeting. What do I say? Race clubs. Can you explain race clubs, Professor? Traditionally, this weekend was Newmarket Day Saturday, Australian Cup Day on the Monday, Labor Day both at Flemington, was regarded as Flemington's autumn carnival. Now we're off to Warrnambool on Labor Day. I suggest that racing clubs, don't try and think too hard. That they all seem to think they're smart people, Professor. But all they want to do is change history. This is the Newmarket Handicap and Australian Cup, long histories on the Labor Day long weekend. We'll just change that. They used to get crowds. It was their autumn carnival, but no, let's change it now. Last year the Australian Cup was on Newmarket Day. Now it's on 2 weeks' time. So,
Gelding. Yeah, so I'm right with you, Gelding. You know me, you don't have to preach to the choir there. But I'll ask you this. Okay, no metropolitan meeting. But how about I name these tracks? Pakenham, Cranbourne, Mornington, Bendigo, Ballarat, all within an easy drive for people who live in Melbourne who might like, it's a holiday with nothing to do. They might like to go and watch the races. Oh no, we're going to Warrnambool where we're just going to make it out of the reach of everybody unless you're down there holidaying for the day.
Professor, you bring common sense to all arguments, apart from maybe your tips on Saturday, but we'll go back into that later on. Normally you bring common sense to all arguments, but maybe you should stand for these committees because I don't know whether people that are in business think that they can do that. We've seen the Pigs in the Troughs committees. So let's wait and see.
All right, Gelding. Well, what we will ask the viewers to do, and I'll do this at the start of the program today, is there are two buttons that are very important for That's Racing. Just down below us where they're watching this screen, there's the subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel and you get even more of the Gelding and the Professor. And hit the like button because everybody likes us, Gelding, and they like our tips.
Of course. Yeah, I've hit it so many times, Professor, it knocks me back.
All right, Gelding, well, the races...
What about the third button?
What's the third button, Gelding?
Is that the brown paper bag with gratitudes in it?
I'm still finding a way to get that onto the channel, Gelding.
Beautiful, Professor.
All right, Gelding, well, we've decided to shun Warrnambool because there's no metropolitan meeting. We're going to go to Morphettville. Now, Gelding, quick question without notice. How come in Adelaide they've decided the metropolitan meeting's the way to go on a holiday?
Tradition, Professor.
Exactly.
The Adelaide Cup has been run this weekend. Well, it has been moved around. It was in May and kind of a lead up, but no, the last few years they've made it this weekend. And again, you know what, Professor? It falls in line with the carnival in Melbourne, the carnival in Sydney. And as you can see, South Australian racing today has been rewarded by not only giving, they're now the headline act on a public holiday. They're the main races with the Group 2 Adelaide Cup. Trainers such as Gay Waterhouse, Ma Eustace, have all taken horses over there to run in their good races, as well as giving their own leading trainers a fantastic racing day, Professor. So to be congratulated.
Yeah, they are, Gelding. 9-race card, the first at 1 p.m, the feature race, the race 7, the Group 2 Adelaide Cup. Ben Melham getting the ride on Persan for the injured Jamie Carr.
Yes, Professor. And an update on that, Jamie Carr, the reports are always coming out, still in hospital and heavily sedated for rather a severe concussion. So let's hope she comes through well. Craig Williams also suffered injuries, probably may not be as severe as Jamie Carr, with a collarbone, a fractured rib and fractured fingers and concussion. And let's hope they both get well soon, Professor, because leading jockeys and a job, I know I criticise jockeys a fair bit, but they've got a job where an ambulance follows them while they're performing their job, and that doesn't happen in too many occupations, Professor.
Certainly doesn't happen in the occupations that you and I are in, Gelding.
Yes, but sometimes we deal with them, Professor, the outcomes of these.
We sometimes do, Gelding. As for Craig Williams, I read this morning a report that he's having operation on his shoulder on Monday, so we wish him well.
Yeah, we do indeed.
All right, the tracks are good for, the weather's fine over in Adelaide, and the rail, Gelding, on a cup day, the rail's in the true position. How good is that?
Hasn't the South Australian Jockey Club got everything right?
Ticked every box, Gelding.
Yeah, notice they've, that's fantastic. They've kept it to a public holiday, racing in the true position, good horses, good jockeys. Let's have a crack, Professor, for a first for GM Racing. And that's racing, covering South Australian races for the first time.
All right, Gelding, what are your two best bets for today?
Well, after saying all that, Professor, the first bet is in race 6, number 11, Villainize. This is a horse that's trained by D. Roach and to be ridden by B. Price, an apprentice, Professor. Let me tell you, I can tell you nothing about both trainer and jockey. Don't know them, but was having a look at this horse. It's a 4-year-old mare that's had 10 starts. It's won 6, so 60% win rate, Professor, and ran 2 seconds. So you're talking about 60% win rate, 80% place chance, Professor. This is a horse that gets out in front and says, catch me if you can. So, look, it goes up from a 1,100 metre race to a 1,200, which is the worry, I suppose. But this horse at the 1,100 metre mark will be in front, Professor. So let's hope the young jockey can keep it going over the 1,200 and improve on its record of 60% win rate.
All right, Gelding. Well, just to fill in a little bit of the colour for the viewers, the trainer of Villainize, Dion Koch, he's out of Strathalbyn. He's had 178 career wins. He's got an 11% career win rate, but over the last 50, it's up to 22%. And he only has 6 horses in the stable. And Villainize is the most successful.
And probably the reason for the increase in the winning rate, Professor.
And the jockey, Ben Price, 20-year-old. He's had 152 career wins. He's won $4.5 million in prize money. No Group 1 wins. His career win rate is 10%. Over the last 50, that's down to 6%. So there's a little bit of detail about the trainer and the jockey for you, Gelding.
Well, Professor, that hopes, and let's hope the horse is able to carry young Ben across the line, who's only a young apprentice, Professor, but let's hope. With 54.5, so up against some good horses, but this is an up-and-coming horse. And as you know, Professor, we like horses that have strong winning strike rates, don't we?
We do, Gelding. That's something we look for.
Then, well, we've got to have a bet in the main race, don't we, Professor? The Cup, the Adelaide Cup. And what I like is race 7, horse 8, Highland Jack, trained by Robert Hickmont and Theo Nugent, the Melbourne jockey going across. This horse last start, it won the lead up to the Adelaide Cup, which is regarded as the main race over in Adelaide over 2,600 metres, the Lord Reims. Before that was second to So Unusual at Sandown. This horse, bred to be a 2-miler by Jackenbury, which ran third in a Melbourne Cup. Professor, it drops down to 53 kilos today at the each way price of $4.60. Professor, I think it can prevail. Worried about the top two, Karen Maher and Dave Eustace, top two, Persan and Grand Promenade. They're the class horses in the field. But as we said, we like one over 2 miles, bred to run the 2 miles, down with 53. Theo Newton in good form. The horse winning the main lead up race to it. So that'll do me, Professor. So my 2 tips are race 6, number 11, Philonise, into race 7, number 8, Highland Jack. And you like, Professor?
Yeah, Gelding, I'm going a little bit earlier than you. I'm going race 2 for my first bet. The Winning Edge Presentation Handicap, a benchmark 70 for 3-year-olds over 1,200 metres. In this race, Gelding, I like horse 7, Kiliako. Coming out of barrier 3, it's lightly raced, 5 starts for 1 win and 3 placings, so a 20% win rate, 80% place rate. Impressive last start at Caulfield in a listed race over 1,400 metres, Gelding. The winner of that race, Vienna Princess, ran in the Magic Millions at the Gold Coast in January. So the winner showed good enough form to run in the Magic Millions, and it won in a listed race. This is over a shorter trip, and I think it's got the ability to win a benchmark 70 race, Gelding. It's got Kayla Crowther in the saddle, 15% win rate over her career, but 18% over the last 50. And local trainer, Gelding, who also trains out of Morphettville, Phil Stokes. He's in career form over his last 50, 18% win rate.
And scratched another horse that he had entered for the same race, Professor.
Yes, I did see that, Gelding.
In Snow Falcon. Always a good sign.
Yeah, and currently showing $6 and $1.95 in the betting, Gelding. So if we can get that up, it'll be a terrific start at Morphettville today. The second selection, race 4, the Cinderella Stakes, a listed race for 2-year-old fillies over 1,050 metres. And I like in this race, Gelding, horse 10, Zelta, coming out of barrier 6. There's no form. So first race, and you might look at me and say there are other horses in the race that are showing some form. Why Zelta? Well, I'll say that nasty word, opinion. In my opinion, Gelding.
Didn't you learn your lesson on Saturday, Professor, about your opinion?
Yeah, I think this one might be a stronger one.
Do you want to remind the listeners of your opinion on Saturday?
I'm sure you'll take it to me at the end of the segment, Gelding.
Okay.
I'll say one word, Gelding, or 2 words, Gay Waterhouse.
Yes. I would have thought you would have said one more word.
What's that?
Schnitzel.
Schnitzel, yes. I'm getting to that, Gelding. All right, well, this horse won a jump out at Flemington 2 weeks ago, very nicely, over 800 metres. It's a 2-year-old filly out of by Schnitzel out of Gibraltar Girl. My question is, why is Gay Waterhouse taking the horse to Adelaide, Gelding, to start it? Probably because she thinks she's got a chance of winning it.
I would say that Gay probably doesn't take many horses over to Adelaide, Professor. So I think it's a smart watch by you to say, why is a leading trainer from Sydney that has a base in Melbourne all of a sudden going for, she wouldn't be wasting her time going to Adelaide for a listed race unless she thought this horse could win it. So
exactly right, Gelding.
I think it's a very astute pickup by yourself there, and one that she may have thought may have got under the radar. And Professor, again, you're getting fantastic each way odds.
Currently showing $7.50 and $2.10, Gelding. Jordan Childs in the saddle. She's in career form. For her career, 11% win rate, but over the last 50, 18%. And Gay Waterhouse and Mr. Bott 19% over their career, but 26%, if you don't mind, over the last 50. So I'll take winning form any day as being an indicator of good form.
Yeah, and I think Geordie Charles will be pretty happy that he's a girl now. So he rides pretty well, Professor.
Yeah, thanks, Gelding.
He hasn't suffered a similar fate to me.
Oh, Gelding, I was just checking to see if you're paying attention.
Oh no, very good, Professor.
I thought I'd get a joke out of there. All right, Gelding, yeah, it'd be nice to know something about racing, wouldn't it, Gelding?
Professor.
My two tips: race 2, horse 7, Kiliako; race 4, horse 10, Zelta. The Professor's Parlay, Gelding.
Very, very successful, Professor's Parlay.
Well, yeah, it was very unsuccessful. Apart from Saturday, I'm glad I didn't waste what you need in the parlay, Gelding, because even with what you need, getting up wouldn't have helped us. It's one of the very, very, very few occasions where the Professor struck out on all 3 selections. I just watched it and I thought, well, I'm glad
it was one of those days of your opinions on Saturday, wasn't it?
Yes, Gelding, and my opinions weren't good. So I'm hopeful that because it's a holiday Monday, my opinions might be a little bit better. I might be a little bit sharper today.
And hopefully you're going with your first choice, Professor.
Yes.
That's what you need.
Yes. Next time, Gelding, you will not be able to criticise me for that. All right, Gelding, the horse leg, the agreed bet of the day, race 6, horse 11, Philanese, for all the reasons that you quite eloquently talked about before, and winning form's good form. Currently showing $2.30 and $1.30, so that's a good way to lead off the parlay. And let's go to the tennis, Gelding.
The tennis?
Yes, well.
Not the AFL.
No, well, the first game, Gelding, so it's a bit hard to, you're going on previous form because there's really no form for this season.
I think your Demons may have a good... they've been in pretty good form in the pre-season, Professor.
Well, we'll wait and see, Gelding. But let's go to Indian Wells in California, where
we're travelling the world.
We are, Gelding. I like Daniel Medvedev in his match against Ilya Ivashka. Medvedev rated 6 in the world. He's played 22 matches this year, Gelding, and won 20 of them. So that's a pretty good start to 2023. Ivashka hasn't played many times. He's number 85 in the world. He's only played 4 times and won twice, Gelding. Now,
wow.
the reason he's only played 4 times is because he keeps being knocked out in early rounds. So the reason why Medvedev's played 22 times is he gets further into the tournament. So I think that's a good sighter for this one. And let's parlay that into US Taylor Fritz playing on home ground. Number 5 in the world, won 15 games of 19 to beat Argentinian Sebastian Baez. Number 35 in the world, won 9 of 15. So he's closer to 50% chance. So Ivashka, Gelding, $19 in a 2-horse race. I don't think the bookies certainly don't think he's going to be any good.
Well, I think the bookies are giving us their strong opinion, aren't they, when they've got someone $19 in a 2-horse race. But
I think that's a very strong opinion, Gelding.
I think, Professor, you've done well there. They're 2 performers on the tennis circuit. Taylor Fritz had a great carnival at the Australian Open, and Medvedev, of course, is just regarded as one of the best in the world.
Yeah. So we've got race 6, horse 11, Philanese at Morphettville, into Daniel Medvedev to beat Ilya Ivashka, into Taylor Fritz to beat Sebastian Baez.
I like him, Professor. Good to see.
Now, Gelding, you're talking about tradition before, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it on Sportsfan Radio yesterday. The floor is open to you.
Well, Professor, we were talking about racing clubs, and I think we both have similar opinions about racing committees at the moment. People that get on these boards just to promote their own self-importance on life and things like that. You're talking about no metropolitan races on a day that's going to be about 23 degrees, beautiful autumn day, Professor. traditionally, Newmarket Handicap Day used to be on the Saturday. Australia Cup Day was the Labor Day long weekend. And here we are now, as you said, a public holiday, a beautiful day. If you want to go and see the races and you're in Melbourne, hop in a car and travel 3.5 hours and then travel 3.5 hours back.
Well, I've got this one.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I've got this one for you, Gelding, because I was just thinking about it while you were talking. If you were going to go to Warrnambool for the races, why wouldn't you keep going for a better race meeting in Adelaide?
Well,
because it's not that far past it.
Exactly, Professor. Another 4 or 5 hours in the car, and you're at a fantastic race day. With Group 2 and listed races, Professor. So rather than just a standard Warrnambool meeting, where I think if we quickly have a look, Professor. Let's see what's the main race at Warrnambool today. Oh, well, we've got, I'm still looking. First 5 races are maidens, Professor.
Oh, let's...
Then we branch out into 3 benchmark 64 races.
Oh, that's the champagne of racing, Gelding.
Well, that's right. And I know my horse, Drop the Mic, the trainer was considering one of these benchmark 64s, Professor.
Yeah, perhaps should have run in that.
Yeah, a bit disappointing yesterday.
Yeah, Gelding. The track was a bog heap though. They were ploughing the ground.
Yeah.
By the time your horse ran.
Yeah, but now, well, look, 4th, Professor, again, more prize money, but geez, I'd like to see it in a winnable race.
Maybe sometime soon, Gelding.
Oh well, we'll see, Professor. Not holding out much hope.
No.
Maybe
All right, Gelding.
Maybe look forward to a next investment with an astute trainer, Professor.
Yes, one who might have a better idea of what's going on.
Yes.
Being kind.
More news to follow.
All right, Gelding. Well, terrific show today. Until next Saturday, and that's racing. It's good luck.
And good punting.